is reality. Reality is what we believe to be true about the nature of our surroundings. But how do we come to decide that true nature? Do we conceive it completely on our own? Or do other devices gently sway our thoughts onto a pre-decided path? This is the hard question we must all ask ourselves as free humans on this planet. New skulls for reality.
Reality. Hey guys, Wednesday night, you know what that means? Time for your reality brief. We got special guest tonight, Ben Davis, author of several books. He's going to fill us in a little bit on geoengineering and possibility that the hurricanes are being steered right at us. Also, we're going to touch a little bit on the AI mind control field set up across the planet. You may or may not be familiar with those types of things, but you're going to find all about it here tonight on Reality Brief. So, joining us now here is Ben Davis. Hey, Ben, thanks for coming on the show.
How's it going?
Hi, how you doing, guys?
Great.
Y'all ready for this hurricane party we're going to have, right?
Oh, yeah. That's going to be fun, man. So you're right down there in the thick of it, man. You're right in southern Florida, right?
I told you. Right? I'm in, no, actually, I'm Daytona Beach, Florida, which is the East Coast.
Okay.
It's between Miami and Jacksonville, a little further than Orlando is. Yeah, but I contacted y'all, Sunday, and told you where it was going to go, and it's going to be a Cat 5, and all those things have come true so far.
Right.
And now the prediction is 2 a.m. Monday morning, another 9/11 hit right here in Daytona.
And weather 9/11. So earlier when we spoke, you had mentioned that about them steering and creating these hurricanes. Now, how does something like that happen?
Well, my first book, by the way, got kind of taken down as I predicted, and it did, through fake publishers and other radio talk shows that pretend to be, the ones that could decipher the truth and lies. Ha ha. Right. One show at a time. Really, they're the government shills that are out in the open public, COINTELPRO agents that try to take real truthers like me down. For what reason? Because they're mind controlled. That's my whole point. And I wrote about it 7 years before I even published the book, and I just today republished the book, but I put everything in it, all the manuscripts, original, non-edited. I put in the journals and the diaries that are in these remaining 5 chapters that I had not published yet, and I published it today. You can get it on website, Kindle Books, on Amazon, and the title is "Incident at Fort Polk."
So, tell me what happened at
and
Fort
that's
Polk.
for the weather modification program.
Okay.
Well, what happened with me was I was in the military, and and that's after the election number was 4 for my draft number in 1974. So actually 73, but I didn't join until 74. After I dropped out of college, and when you do that, well, you automatically go in the pile and get pulled next out of the draft numbers. So I went and joined the Army. Had basic and AIT training at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, and I came out as a combat engineer. So 12B 40, 12 Bravo 40 was my training of work. So a combat engineer in battle is the kind of person that goes in before the person that goes in before the person that goes in to find out all the information on an attack or defense on the military strategy table.
So it's like a pre-scout scout.
Yeah. We were the smart ones. So let's see. Back March 14th, 1976, I had broken my leg off-duty hours and in a little friendly combat football game, and some of these guys that I knew in the barracks scooped me up and said, "Let's go have a 4-day weekend, Davis, and sure enough, we took off. And during that travel time between Fort Polk, Louisiana, and Wichita, Kansas, we had a sighting and a possible alleged, if you want to call it, abduction into a craft that took us to the future in the year 2026.
Okay, so who was driving this craft?
I don't know who was driving the craft. I never really saw the craft until at the end of the journey, after showing us a devastated Earth, and the surmise was that it wasn't just me that got abducted. There were several of us in the unit, and we were coerced, or should I say, persuaded to reacquire a down beam weapon of some time from some type from a craft that had crashed it. And I had no knowledge of any of this stuff, but we were believed to have been mind controlled. And so we stole this weapon, and we got in trouble for it. Sure, I'm not an honorable discharge. I'll be the first one to tell you that. And it's all written in my book, all the documents that are pasted, and a lot of trouble to edit this book to make it like it is and believable if you want, but I didn't call it fiction. It's a journey of my life, and you can get it on film. The aliens, never saw them. You just know they were there. They're in your head. 41 years of research, and before I even published the book, I found more information, which is in the book, which leads to the nanotechnology that comes from the chemtrails that the U.S. Air Force sprays under the alleged U.S. Air Force weather modification program called White Carpet. There's a hidden payload within all this stuff, and everybody on the planet breathes the air. That's how you get it. It's propagated into your body with that system. And even some other scientists like Dr. Robert Duncan on YouTube a year ago came out with saying, yeah, we got artificial intelligence, and it's running the planet. And it's doing it through your body and your mind, because it can outthink the human brain 1 billion to 1. So what choice do we have but to fight back? And that's what my book's all about. It's just to fight back. It's got all the tips in it.
To the idea that reality itself is a hologram?
Well, I mean, it's kind of like the Matrix, so to speak. But it's a more physical world than what Hollywood had you believe it to be. But Hollywood's is the source of all the clues to what's really happening, and they just show it better every year when they come out with better movies and different, genres, and it's all the same thing. The singularity is what it's coming down to. They're trying to turn it into mindless, soulless, lovingless, heartless drones, or should I say, Borgs. We're going to be the Borg eventually. And the rich are so far behind it. It's all about money. And whatever it takes to shut me up, they've tried thousands of times. I've been a targeted individual my whole life. That's what it comes down to. A targeted individual is every human on the planet. And that's just the bottom line. We don't have much time to live. Now here comes the hurricanes. I mean, look at Harvey. My God. I got people that live there. Another book writer, author that lives there, and she, wrote it out, just like I wrote it out last year with Matthew. It scared the crap out of you, but they're not so bad. It's what the media is telling you it is. And I saw some, before I came online, I go to my contacts and I ask them, show me a live satellite video of what's going on. And they're saying they had 78 mile an hour winds just outside the eye of the hurricane. So are we really watching the camera behind us? You're probably right. It is, but then they'll step it down. And what they've done is they've declared FEMA to control everybody from the tip of Texas all the way to the tip of Key West and all the way up to North Carolina. That's a heck of a way to smooth in and take over the human American citizens without firing a shot, right?
Mm-hmm.
You do it with weather warfare. That's how you do it.
It's like the West is on fire and the East is underwater. So you are speculating
Wow.
that this is the U.S. government doing this?
You got a really bad audio on mine, and maybe that's just your end.
Me?
It was all mumbled. I couldn't get the ciphers out of that at all.
I do kind of mumble sometimes. I was saying it's like the West is on fire and the East is underwater.
Your audio is really God, what do you call it? It's got special effects on it or something. It's got an echo to it.
How about my audio?
They don't want this to go out. Yeah, I'm
let me ask you this. This is the U.S. government doing this, or is this a foreign nation controlling these hurricanes?
I couldn't say exactly who's behind it all, but I think all the major nations are all, they're friendly. They make it look like they're enemies. They're not. They're all doing the same thing.
Well, a lot of them definitely do have the technology to do that.
Well, the link I sent you a couple of days ago about the real story about Hurricane Andrew, right?
Mm-hmm.
Back in '92. That's horrifying.
Yeah, it is.
That'll make you want to never, ever trust our government, no matter what they show on television. They're going to show you lies anyway.
Well, the thing about it, too, is they did the same thing with Katrina. Those were the rumors going around then. Where they were going in and shooting people.
That's 12,000 people. And the bad part about that, it was really a couple of 100,000 people that died. They had to go clean up the body parts that were everywhere because of 400-mile-an-hour wind. It hit what was it, Dade City or something like that in the story?
Mm-hmm.
And it just disappeared everything. They had to go clean it up. They had to burn them. They had to, trash them off. You could throw them for sharks or whatever they had to do to get rid of the evidence that many people died.
Yeah.
I mean, that's weather warfare. That was the Russians that did that.
That was the Russians that did that one. So you said the Russians...
That's what I read.
They created and steered it.
I mean, is that fake? Is that fake news?
Well,
if you try to put it on Facebook, they'll make you take. Yeah, they'll censor it for sure.
Right on.
Including here, they'll censor it. And that's what's in my book too, which I didn't publish yet. Targeted individuals versus artificial intelligence. I'm just going to reverse it, and sell it. Those are the patents that show how this atom-sized weaponry works. We are micro-beamed all the time. I've been attacked several times with too much frequency to stimulate my heart and try to pop it. 195 beats a minute for an hour and 13 minutes. My doctor said, you should have fucking died in 10 minutes. I said, well, I'm a super soldier, so hell with that. You just learn to overcome it. And when I have recognized signs of that happened, it happened to me back in March, I think it was, and working on another home we own, and it lasted for 18 minutes, at an hour and 13. So, and also had somebody call me, and when that call came through the cell phone, it stopped. In other words, it interrupted the feed coming. It was an incoming beam, And Dr. Robert Duncan says it's your, what do you call it? Your resonance image, your resonance signature. You have a brain and you have a body signature, and that signature, where they can just shoot the microwave beams at. It doesn't have to come through your cell phone anymore. It's just right to your brain.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the technology they're not telling us about.
So that's like, do you know what frequency that is?
Well, do y'all see this device right here?
Mm-hmm.
Can you see that? You see the two little silver discs in the back?
Yeah.
Right? I'm going to put it on my neck right here. And in here's the super magnet. And then it comes with it's like a 10 unit. A massage. That's, you peel these off and stick them to the back in between your shoulder blades, and then you plug it into the collar. And it's an electromagnetic pulse, an EMP. That's what kills the nanotechnology inside of your cerebral cortex, right here, the back of the brain is where it attaches to. I mean, do you ever, at your age, you're younger and all that, you move your neck and you hear this creaking noise in your ears. It feels like your neck's stiff. You know, all that. And this is what it does. It helps get rid of the fiber, the nanofiber from the aircraft that are 64 hours and 7 days a week. It depends on the wind conditions. I mean, I look up every day and I see them spraying, but you know, even when we have thunderstorms around here, in between clouds, I see them spraying. So it doesn't matter. They're saturating the air so much so that what this thing does here is it kills. It's made China, doesn't even have a name on it. I can't even read Chinese, put it that way. It's a strange world we're living in, and because these hurricanes are what I call manufactured, and they're being steered, and it's 50 years of research. They started in Vietnam. You know, who'll stop the rain?
So
you know,
they started the weather control in Vietnam, is what you're saying, right? Not the nanobots.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they started the weather control a long time ago, but how else you gonna get the hidden payload out unless you call it something else?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we have drought down for 3 months. Yeah, all the rain's coming back, and nobody notices this stuff. But I got a canal around my backyard, which is the fourth hole on the golf course on the north course, and it's always level. But then all of a sudden, we're 4 feet low. And then all of a sudden we're where we were before us. It's just unimaginable kind of technology that is really out there. Invisible craft, stealth craft that suck up the moisture. And the program that I inserted, the U.S. Air Force program for radiation weather for 2030. I mean, you're looking, that came out in 2009. You're looking 20 years ahead of time. I mean, they've got technology that's 100 years ahead of what they're letting us have.
Right.
You know, too many smart people out there like me.
We
that
always
might
say
figure
here
it
on the
out.
show that if the public knows
You know,
about it, then
and
DARPA's had
that's
it for like 30 years,
Yeah.
at least.
Yeah, well, don't be surprised if we only get less than 100 views, because anytime I've ever been online, they cut it off. I mean, I'm the most well-known expert there is out here on the internet about this, and I keep records of all this stuff.
Oh, we are experiencing some
Can you see it?
heavy technical glitches right now too, man. We had some.
Yeah, well, I mean, earlier I heard I couldn't hear you earlier, and now I hear you fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and when I say audio, they know I'm fixing to say something, so I'll just shut up and let y'all a little bit. How about that?
So, all right. So back to this. Now you say the original source of this. So they're using the weather control technology to deploy the mind control nanobots, is what you're saying. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, they do.
Okay.
That's
So
it.
do we have any idea which race of ET that these nanobots come from?
I'm not getting better on any of that. It's mind control. They make you see things and believe things because they can pull the switches in your brain to do that right from the keyboard. They can remotely, wirelessly, invisibly tell you what to do, and then wipe your mind that you even did it.
Right.
I mean, look at all this violence on television every day. Those people don't even look like they know what the fuck they're doing. Really.
Well, it's like I've
They're
heard
just
that
doing it.
different species. I remember talking to Tony Rodriguez about this, about how like the Dracos will abduct you and do a mind wipe, right? And then the U.S. government comes in behind them, abducts you, and tries to probe your brain to recover whatever was there before the Dracos mind wiped you, and then they mind wipe you again. So
yeah,
it's like
I've heard that. You
a
know,
mind wipe on top of a
it's-
mind wipe prime. So hey,
I mean,
things are gonna get scrambled.
If you look at it, time travel. They keep wiping your mind all the time. You ain't got time to do nothing.
So
That's why I named the first. It's about time. It's just all about time. If they could come back in time and change what they just did and undo it, how many times do you have to do it? I mean, that's the question right there. How many times do you have to do it? Infinitely. There's no number. It
Now-
can never be one. It can never be two. It can't be anything else but infinite.
I don't know if you touched on this or not, because right after I asked you, it went crazy again, and we didn't get anything that you said. But Do you know which ET race is spraying the nanobots?
Oh man, that's a.
Which
I
ones
think it
aren't?
came in with Roswell,
So you think it's a
and
gray?
they had the little gray aliens were their pilots, or I would say they put them in a drone, and they put their slaves in there, the little graves, and then it's taken all these decades for the nanotechnology to overtake the entire planet, the whole structure, the whole system,
So you think it
politically,
was a leak from that?
governmentally.
It was a leak from that crash, is what you're
Right.
saying? Okay.
Yeah, that's what I think.
All right. So
And
now you were talking about the time travel component of this. So this artificial intelligence, is this working for the Greys, or is it kind of like just taking a life of its own and it's doing its own thing now?
I think the Greys are all uh, they were created to be slaves like we are, and
Right.
we're just part of the whole realm of super intelligences. I mean, just the recent ancient aliens came out today showing all of these pyramids, and there's probably hundreds never discovered yet, or too costly to get to, or in a bad part of the region of the planet because of violence that our species just seems to be attracted to all the time. You know, they're not attracted to peace. Our own people.
I think the enlightened
always
people
about-
are, and it's just you have that the well-read and eloquent are always going to be overwhelmed by the ignorant and the unlearned, and that's just how it goes because there's so many more of them.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Well, if I was a commander of a species sent out on an adventure to expand, I mean, that's what humankind wants to do. We want to expand. Now that we know that we're not allowed to do that, but the fact is, they came here to control us and your own planet. So, so when it gets overpopulous, and I've been around, I've seen some, I've been in some very populous cities, including Mexico City, where, I mean, they don't even have public bathroom. They just do it right there in the curb. I mean, it's massive. It's massive to manage this amount of many people, and you kind of wonder, well, where did all those other ancient civilizations disappear to? They probably didn't disappear. They probably snatched them up and said, let's go another planet, and we're done with this one.
So
and they left behind enough.
You would say it would be a fair bet that the Mayans were mass abducted. Are you getting it?
The Aztecs, the Mayans, all of them. They were all interconnected. I mean, they had their own descriptions of things, and for whatever they came here for, they had to alter the humans to a point where they could stay under control, and in fact, we still are under their control. If you call us our own people, some of them, they had to mix with us. I mean, I'm not a scientist. I only have limited education in biology because I had to be a mold mildew remediator. That's 7 college credits. That made me a doctor, right?
So
and, that's what's going to happen with these storms too. It's going to create mold, mildew, and
oh yeah, no doubt.
They're displacing how many, 10, 20 million people right now out of Texas and Florida alone.
I work in the auto
we're
repair
under attack.
industry. I work in the auto repair industry. I expect to see a ton of flood cars. Ton of them. They buy them up and they ship them out. Like all those cars in Houston, somebody's going to buy them, and they're going to end up at wholesales, and then they're going to end up at my dealership, and they're going to be like, oh, what does it need? Everything.
And you buy a brand new van like I did, and after the 60,000-mile warranty runs out at 62,000 miles, the check engine light comes on. What the?
It's a little timer in there, man.
You're going to buy something that's going to F up anyway. It's all electronic. It's electronic. They can just pull the pin anytime they want.
So you're speculating that the Greys now being a slave race. There's a lot of talk about people saying a lot of those are actually android type things like biological robots, but whatever the case may be,
And that's
something is
what they're trying
behind
to
them.
turn us into biological robots. Yeah,
So
we're going to be biological robots called the singularity.
what do you think is behind? Who do you think's giving their orders? Who's controlling them? Who's programming them?
Whoever's got money in the world,
So you think humans are
whoever
programming the Greys?
controls it all. It's like 7,000 of the richest people in the world own everything. They just subsidize and pass it on to their family. And I don't care if you call them reptilians or Queen of England. It don't matter. It's just, us people that are just normal humans, we ain't never going to get anywhere. Never. All the money in the world you got, they're going to get it anyway.
So you think it's
Nothing you can do about it.
these cabal type groups that are behind programming these Greys?
And the Greys are actually controlled by AI is controlled by people on Earth, as opposed to an off-world power.
And this way I see it. Who has ever seen an alien and proven it? That's the whole point right there.
I don't think
I can't say I saw them. I felt them. That's psychological. That's not mental. It's it's how the human psyche works. And the doctor that I have had permission to transcribe his 9 podcasts under mind control recovery, and he programmed this program or whatever, wrote the program until he realized that I didn't sign up to do this stuff to hurt humans, and that's what it does.
Okay.
It intentionally creates skirmishes to happen. Yeah.
So I'm just getting a better picture of this now. So you're saying that the nanotechnology, we gained this as a result of crashed alien technology, and we've engineered it to be mind control device. It's not actually coming from an extraterrestrial threat. The technology comes from ET, right. But the mind control program is all us.
And the mind control program is all us.
Okay.
It's all human.
Kind of clarify that, because there is a lot of narratives out there about different species and mind control and this and that. So just trying to clarify exactly, what your take on it is.
Yeah, and basically it's called a takedown program. That's what he did. He wrote how to take people down, and that's one person to another or a group of people, which is the gang stalking comes in, and the insinuation of that's what it does. It targets a human being because of a certain agenda, and the artificial intelligence itself has gotten to the point and so smart that it doesn't need a handler at the other end of the keyboard to tell it what to do. Mm-hmm. It's one of the patents that I disclose in the book on this of TI versus AI, and it explains Facebook pretty much so. I can actually pull that up real quick.
Would you mind getting into that a bit? How exactly does that work there?
Yeah. I'm not going to do that. I can find a link, send it to you on text, and then you can pull it up and splash it.
Yeah, that'll work.
Sounds good.
Yep. Give me a sec.
All right. So this Facebook tech, is that like a direct plug into this nanotech technology? Is this a different program? How exactly does this one work?
It's well, the nanotechnology is separate, but the mind control is electronic. It's how, like you heard that they could see you through your television, mm-hmm. and they can see you through your monitor screen. It's not the camera. It's in the technology. Okay, I got the right one. So I'm going to hand you right here in the text box.
Okay.
There it is. It's called the Social Networking Driven Indexing System for Instantly Clustering People with Concurrent Focus on Same Topic into on-topic chat rooms and or for generating on-topic search results tailored to user preferences regarding topics. That's that's Facebook. And if you click up on the images, you can them out one at a time. You can save them if you want them, and it'll show you. It'll show you cloud. It'll show you trending. It'll show you everything that the social networks are driven and how they work in
Sounds
black and
kinda
white.
handy.
And this was, yeah.
So,
I mean, I'm full of all kinds of information. I'm not trying to pat myself on the back. I'm just trying to say that the patents have to have a working model, and they have to have it in a drawing.
mhm.
It's like an architect submitting
Now, was this
to an
one
engineer
granted?
to build something.
Yeah, it was granted. Okay, so it's not just an application.
It's not an application. It's granted, and that's Facebook right there.
So
That's all she wrote.
this would be more of a trying to sculpt public opinion type thing via algorithms.
Right, right,
Okay.
right.
Well, you guys can see that up on the screen there if you want to search it out on your own. It's US 201-00205-541A1. We'll get that posted to the our Facebook page.
Yeah. Ironically enough.
Ironically enough, we'll go ahead and do that for you so you can check that out yourself too. All right. So
Yeah.
We're gonna use their own tag against them.
now, you had mentioned that you were back at the Fort Polk incident. You were abducted. Now, just wondering if maybe you could expand on that a little bit and tell us about that whole experience and whatever details you may remember from that.
Well, during the abduction, and it was during a trip where I was in the back of a pickup truck with a black fellow by the name of JJ. I never really knew his real name. He was riding with me, and this boy had king caps. You didn't have that, and because of the leg brace, I couldn't sit up front. And there was two guys. There was a driver and a passenger. They never knew what happened. They tried to wake us up during 2 gas stops.
Mm-hmm.
It was like a 10-hour period. And when they pulled off in Wichita, Kansas, and we kind of came to, and JJ and I looked at each other, and we were actually talking to each other while saying a word. We could read each other's minds the whole time.
Wow.
And it kind of, so it kind of put a dampener on what we were going there for, because JJ and I said, look, man, I'm really tired. Y'all just slept 10 hours. I don't care. Y'all just come back and get us Monday. It was a 4-day weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And so, sure enough, we kind of tried to forget about it. We couldn't really forget about it. And when we got back to Fort Polk on the following Tuesday, a guy that lived off post, Timothy Harden, he answered the door, and right away, JJ and I hooked up telepathically with this guy, and he's saying, I got to tell you what happened Friday night, which is the same night happened to us. And back in the day, we had no cell phones, and there was, hardly any pay phones kind of thing. And he told us that an orb or some blue light popped into his room, and he laid down on the waterbed. And next thing you know, he woke up the next morning, which is about the time we woke up that same day. And he told us, man, I seen you and JJ on a spaceship looking down at Earth. And that kind of put us right back to where we had been a couple of days earlier, and to this day, I don't know if that was part of the mind control program or I had
like a
handlers,
screen memory?
Like a
like a MyLab kind of thing. I got abducted and programmed to do something. And my program was to get the weapon back, and then I had a choice. It's like taking a red pill or a blue pill. You'll read that in the book, how it came about. That I chose the red pill because I would rather be a hero than a dead soldier. Who wouldn't, So I chose to take the path of 50 years. And during that 50 years, I would tell as many people as I could. Can't keep my mouth shut about it. I'm going to tell you all about these aliens. And, I never saw them. And yeah, I got taken up on spacecraft. And it's it's good. And when I walk away, everybody will say, "Oh, you're just a crazy old fart," uh, and I could care less what you think, because I'm supposed to write the book that's supposed to save humanity from extinction, or should I say extermination. And I published it, and then I would be taken down. And I got taken down as soon as I published it. Not too recent. I've just, here this September, it was like in June, got
Really?
published, and boom, it got taken 6 weeks later. Yeah, my book got taken down. All of them, all three of them. And so today I republished. It's called Incident at Fort Polk, what it should have been all along. Well, who to say I didn't know that ahead of time? And I planned that to come out that way. How can you plan that your book's going to get taken down by obvious intelligence agency crooks trying to steal my work? I mean, God.
Well, that's pretty much all the state does is steal, right?
I know you said you didn't want to mention any names, but can you tell us what happened exactly? I know, like I said, I know you didn't want to mention any names. You don't have to.
Well, I'm still under contractual disagreement, and I have to be very careful what I'll say. I've already said enough. It's got taken down, and I republished it. And it's still, to my best opinion, I put in all the other stuff that wasn't put in the book one, and I did that. I got educated to do that, how to keep your work from being destroyed. There's critics out there all left and right that are going to try to take you down regardless of what the genre is or the story is, because this is a hot topic, and it's been a hot topic because I started out with the Kevin Smith show in the end of 2011 with the other book, Incident at Fort Benning. Now, Incident at Fort Benning included Command Sergeant Major James Norton and John T. Vasquez and 1,200 men at the 101st Airborne Division at Fort Benning, Georgia, were involved with a battle. They called it the Battle at Benning. And that happened a year and a half after my incident at Fort Polk. And I named it in honor of John because he's my blood cousin. I don't believe in coincidence, but yeah, he is. My daughter's mom's first cousin. So there's something to time travel or bloodlines or whatever. And so when that happened in, I think it was September of 77, that 1,200 men in a division were going through a JAWS weapons test where they had the Department of Defense Secretary, a 2-star general, a bunch of top-notch others from they all got snatched up and taken off planet. Really. 100 of them.
And
our best scientists got snatched. Yeah. This
talking
happened
about
in
the brain
77.
drain, I'm assuming?
Well,
now,
this was the incident at Fort Benning.
Oh, okay. So now, did they get snatched up by ETs, or was it us?
You never heard.
I'm sorry, you're breaking up again, man.
Uh-huh. And I've even read John's book. I have his book sitting right here on my desk, and it took me a lot of research, just reading of his appendix to determine what it was. So it turns out to be any documentation that you try to follow up through or with your personnel records is a dead-end street. And I found it on the final communication between a major, the archives, Army Archives, where it said, well, he suggested it may be because you were in an experimental unit that they determined was an experimental unit, that they don't keep records of your where you were stationed at. When I read that, I said, what a lame excuse to say we don't have any records, dudes. Just quit asking.
Yeah.
Really, think about it. We're not going to give you anything. And it's 75 pages of chasing down something he tried to prove really happened. It's still speculation because you can't prove any of it. And, and that's one thing that, I'll say it, Michael Vera, really, think about it, asked me that all my records don't exist. Well, they're inside my book because you don't read, dude, I mean, and the same thing goes with what I'm trying to say here. It's the fact that it's so important that any humans never ever get disclosed extraterrestrial visitation of any kind of proof, or we'll just kill you. And that's what they do. They just kill you.
They just squash it.
Now, John Vasquez is now dead. So is his ex-wife, and so is the host of the show. He died. Kevin Smith. He died. All within about a year of each other.
Was it?
That was after I was on his show.
Was it suspicious circumstances, or?
They can make it look suspicious any team they want to do, man. You know, they could kill me right now. They could send a beam attack right here, hit me up, and I don't care. They're listening. You know what I do? I shove it right there because I'm not plugged in.
Well, like what was listed on his autopsy report?
What
was the given cause of death?
Went to he had a heart attack, and they let him go.
Oh, well, there you go. That's a classic Russian umbrella treatment.
I mean, they can make it look like medical people did, you know, and then he died a week later.
You ever hear about the umbrella gun?
Well, yeah. I mean, they exposed the CIA's heart attack gun in the 60s.
Well, the KGB had it before that, and they had an umbrella with a needle in the end of it, and they would walk up behind you with this umbrella and be like, "Dook," and you would feel a poke in your back, but there'd be a needle in it full of cyanide, and to the coroner, it would look like you had a heart attack, but case closed.
Yeah. Well, John Vasquez died from a stroke, and they could cause all that stuff. I mean, Kevin Smith and I talk. Like I said, I record everything. I'm not making anything public because that's my proof, you know. And they could fry my computer right now for all I care because I have backups to backups to backups. Nothing's online. Nothing's wireless. You know, I mean, I got like 5 terabytes of evidence that can back me up. You know. Yeah, I was known in the Army as General Motherfucker because they couldn't catch me doing anything wrong.
So
that's why they got rid of me.
To kind of get back on the AI again. Now, it was constructed by us for mind control purposes, but what are the chances you think that it's is it still under our control or humans' control, or is it like Skynet now?
Self-aware and in control of itself.
I would rather think that the artificial intelligence has already taken over the world. It's just they can't do it physically, you know, to the point, and there's a lot of resistance at that. Most of it's in Congress, and the majority of it is our leaders because they get replaced.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
but did they take over the world for these cabal groups, or did they take over the world for themselves, for itself? Is what I'm trying to get at.
Well, I can't put a finger on it, but I'll say it's more artificial than it is human.
Mm-hmm.
If it's alien, well, I kind of said that at the end of the second book I'm fixing to publish next week. Is you know, it's going to be artificial intelligence versus targeted individuals. That's us. It's the machine against us, and it can make up its own mind, or it can let the human, brainwashed human, do its own thing. I mean, you ever heard of road rage and all these other crazy things?
We've definitely heard about road rage. Actually,
have you ever lit the cigarette up, and put the lighter down? Damn, man, it was a red the last time I lit it up. You ever notice stuff like that? No.
Not really, but I've had missing time, and I've noticed other weird time-wavy stuff too, like where like a glitch in the Matrix, that sort of thing.
Tell them the cheeseburger story.
Yeah, like this one time I was driving down 264, right? I was driving home, and I remember because I was eating a cheeseburger, and I was driving over Independence in Virginia Beach, and I looked out of my right, and I saw the Best Buy. I took a bite out of my cheeseburger, and like I had kind of like a sleepy moment for a second. I was like, yo, where the hell am I? And then I realized I was on 64 by the Norfolk Airport. Now, there's like this complex series of twists and turns that you got to make to navigate from 264 to 64. So there's no way I could have just been asleep at the wheel. Now, it's possible that this is my daily commute. I've made it a million times. I was kind of tired, so I simply don't remember it because it was such a mundane drive that there was no reason to commit it to memory. But I swear there was probably about 10 minutes of drive time that's just gone.
Yep.
But you didn't tell them about the cheeseburger.
Oh, yeah, when I was done, my cheeseburger was gone. I don't even remember finishing it.
His cheeseburger was gone, man.
Yeah,
It just
that storm's gonna hit it. If it's going to end up where y'all are at, Virginia, Tennessee, Georgia, all that. It's gonna go right. Yep.
Yeah, we're in the Norfolk area.
Yeah, it's
I call it 9/11-2. That's what I call it.
Now, how do you foresee? I know you said that this is a strategic move by FEMA as a war on the people. Now, how do you foresee that playing out?
Well, and then the other two behind it. Not saying that'll turn out to anything, but it sure is a perfect ingredient for causing a lot of disruption here in America, like half the country.
Well, maybe this is when the FEMA camps are going to start popping up.
They're already there, man. I've seen them. I've driven right up to them. I use a Google map. I've been turned away. And if I brought out a camera or cell phone and a recorder, they'd have took it. Yeah, that's pretty smart what they do. Then they'll target you forever. I mean, they target you basically to control your life, because what controls your life? Money. They control your money. They'll just cut me off. Yeah, like they just did. That's why I decided to republish. Fuck them.
There's a big argument to be made for cryptocurrencies, eh?
Yeah, I mean, I had $3,600 wired from a contractor up in Kentucky, and I called him up. I said, "Man, the wire's not here." He says, "Yeah, it is." He took a picture of the contract, sent it to me, and I went to the bank. They don't even see it. I said, "Oh man!" So I call up the other bank. It turns out to be a 4-day holiday, and I've already left the office, and he got off early that day. Friday. And sure enough, come the next Wednesday, he finally catches up with me because he had called in sick. I mean, how obvious is mind control when they know I need that money really bad? Well, it caused an avalanche. You know how that works at your bank. I missed a payment. There goes $55 interest payment. I mean, it's telling you, we're going to take your money until you die. We're going to take your money until you die. And that's what they do. And
it's just one long process of depriving people of their wealth.
Yeah, they can screw up your check, or the mailman missed a turn and ran into the post. You had to go back to, if you're on time for something, mind control will stop you. The artificial intelligence behind that.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it goes without saying, taxation is theft. Like that's one thing that I love about the whole concept of culture jamming and meme magic and search engine fuckery. If you look at like search results for taxation is theft, when those memes first started coming out, you can see the search results spike, and just general interest in the idea that taxation is theft kind of took off.
Right, that's true.
So I like the idea of working stuff like that into the cultural zeitgeist.
Yep. So how long is this show going to last tonight, guys?
Well, we normally broadcast for about 2 hours. We're coming up here on the halfway point. We're going to take about a 10-minute break, and then I was planning on opening up the phone lines for you when we get back to see if anybody's got any questions for you.
Sure, man. We can do that. You want to take a break now, or we got to wait 10 more minutes?
Yeah, I guess we can go ahead and hit the break now if you want to, man.
I'd really like to go more into the whole targeted individual phenomenon, and how perhaps taking a look at I wanted to ask you if there had been any use of directed energy weapons.
Yep.
As part of this whole mind control thing, and if so, if you knew anything about what kind of phenomenon those are.
Oh boy. Okay, we can talk about it when we get back. That'd be great.
Awesome. Awesome, guys. Well, we'll see you on the other side.
Thanks.
Who wants to go get drunk?
I'm not. Hey, we're back, guys. Sorry about that. We're joined again here by Ben Davis, and we're going to continue on with the story of, what it's like to be a targeted individual, and also we're going to go over some more patents that Ben has found in his research. So this first one here you got is system and method for irradiation of planet surface areas. Now, you were saying over the break that this was related to an artificial sun?
Huh? Yeah, illumination. That's what they call
artificial illumination.
It's an illuminator. It's a light bulb.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big light bulb. Yeah, it's up in the sky. It's a big light bulb. It takes the energy from the sun, aligns it through an array of, dig this. There's 1,000 satellites with 1,000 foot wide arrays of energy collecting light, sunlight. They collect and illuminate. It's like magnifying. It's like a magnifying glass, and it's irradiating the Earth under certain UV ultraviolet light frequencies, and it's affecting the entire planet. This is targeting the entire Earth, our own government right here. The patent was in 1967, General Electric. The second patent is about timed control of the global radiation balance to influence and control the climate and weather. Ha ha ha. There is the proof that this is man-made hurricanes intentionally targeting America. Every human being, I keep saying this, is a targeted human individual. Whether they want to do it through the weather, through the radiation, or both, and it's unlimited what they can do. Really, just right there. Interesting.
Okay, so now this satellite network you mentioned, so what it's doing is it's lensing the sun and amplifying ultraviolet radiation. So now is that what you, just to be clear, is that what you're saying?
Yep.
Okay, so now this satellite network, is this around the sun or is this around the Earth?
This is around the Earth. In the second patent, it'll tell you how far it is. It says something like 12,600 miles in orbit, and it's in line with the sun's rotation around the Earth. So it stays with the Earth. The Earth sun, it's in between. It's the tennis ball in between Earth and the sun. Is this illuminator? What they call it.
All right, guys out there listening, I'm going to go ahead and post that onto the Facebook page as well, so you guys can take a look at that with your own eyes there.
Yeah, they won't take it down. I did all that with my Facebook before I decided I'm done with the Facebook. It captures your face images, it reads your mind, and it's quicker because it's Wi-Fi.
Well, if you're listening, we'd love to read your mind, so go ahead and call in. 757-528-8130. Again, that's 757-528-8130.
Pick
my brain tonight. That's what I call it.
So, talking about this whole targeted individual phenomenon, because, we've done a little bit of looking on the, reading up on this.
Right. Well, the targeted individuals has been around for a while. It really went active, I'd say, around the early 2000s, after 9/11 maybe. It's probably when it went into active file. But they probably been playing with it in the agency, like targeting groups they call gang stalking. And
my question for you is, do you think that they use, specifically like people who can't afford really good health care, like, poor folks who go to community services boards and whatnot, do you think they use them as guinea pigs?
We're all guinea pigs. I mean,
but specifically them, these people.
I'm 62, and I remember getting shots, and every time you go see a doctor, you're a guinea pig. That's all you are. It doesn't matter who pays for it. They want you to pay for it. You think the rich aren't going to get rich unless they take some money from you? I mean, really?
Well, I would assume that if you got more money to throw at a doctor, the less likely they are to immediately use you as a test subject for something.
I know.
If for any other reason than the fact that they want to keep getting your money.
Yeah, it's all about the money.
But yeah, I'm looking specifically at people on the lower economic end of the spectrum who end up going to things like, community services boards, community psychologists, things like that, and end up getting thrown immediately to the wolves and used as a test subject.
We got a question coming in from the chat. They want to know, how did you unplug yourself from the AI?
Electromagnetic pulse.
So
I experimented with it accidentally. Let's see, in 2013, I was listening to a show where a guy had Morgellons. He had the sores and all the stuff the American Medical Association refused to acknowledge.
Yeah, Morgellons is scary. Like, I've read up on that, and that's some weird.
I got a friend of mine who
that's
called
some
me
old
up.
crazy weirdness.
I got a friend from Facebook who called me up and thanked me for giving her all the information I can, because she's stage 10 out of 5. And when she went to give blood, the hematologist ran out of the room screaming because it was a gray sludge coming out of her veins. And the doctors at the ER rushed her out of the hospital, said, "There's nothing we can do for you here," and told her to get lost. That's what they do to people that have severe results of testing that they're doing openly. Every time they spray the plane, you're gonna get nailed.
Let me ask you a question about the gray sludge. Now, do you think there's any connection there to the infamous black goo that people are saying is AI technology? And they said that, I don't know if you're familiar with Max Spears.
Yeah, well,
he died about a year ago.
I'm familiar with a lot of things, and I don't claim to be anybody that connected to any of this stuff, because I think it's all mind control. I've never seen the black goo. Everybody starts talking. And just go back to the patent that I gave you earlier about the social networking. Mm-hmm. It tells you right there in black and white. You have to actually show the audience to go look at that page and bring up the drawings. If you have any architectural thinking at all, you'll read what they're doing to us right through Facebook, right through YouTube, right through all these chat rooms, AOL Instant Messenger, all this stuff. They were targeting us when the computer world first came out. And I've been in it for quite some time. And when I started working on audio, video, streaming through dial-up, not DSL, we didn't even have DSL in those years. And they set me up for a takedown. They took me down, a whole physical group of people. And they've been using this system for decades. And the advanced technology that our secret government really has, whether you want to call them the cabal or the shadow government, it's a little bit of everything.
Yeah, they're known by many different names. Cabal seems to be the recent popular.
Some of those popular ones don't have a pay grade to know some of this stuff. Mm-hmm. I mean, neither am I, but I do.
So it would be your opinion then that the black goo is probably some sort of disinformation campaign perpetrated by this AI?
Everything. 99% you see on the internet's disinformation campaign. I mean, how many times will I have to prove it to anybody that I'm telling you the truth? My family name comes politically tied to the late Lawton Childs, who was senator of Florida and governor of Florida, who was my dad's college roommate, for Christ's sake, after World War II. My dad's a World War II Navy frogman. He was handpicked to do what he did. And my bloodline is in that genre. And that's what saved me from going to Leavenworth for 20 years, making small rocks out of big ones with a dadgum sledgehammer. I mean, am I a traitor? No, I'm not. I'm not mind controlled. You can't control a mind that's so disciplined that you can't, break it. You want to get something out of me? Shit, you have to put a bullet in my head.
Electrodes.
Yeah, really. You stick a gun in my head, I'll say, shoot, I'm glad to get off this planet. It's a planet of hell, what it is. We're one huge major experiment by some kind of force, and it's not human, because they made us. We're part of them. They've been fighting whoever for how long? Eons, for all I know, and they catch up with each other. The time travel wars. I've heard that's what it is. Time travel war.
Time travel wars, huh? Like in Star Trek.
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, it comes up a lot. Science fiction films come up a lot. A lot of people claim it's disclosure. While we're on the topic of disinformation, there's a lot of people out now claiming to be whistleblowers or have experienced serving time in the secret space program or secret space programs, different factions, just essentially breakaway civilizations. How do you feel about that?
Well, the time travel thing and the secret space program, and what they call it, the teleportations, they're all hand in hand with what alien technology is and what can do.
Right.
How we pertain to accept that is one thing, and being involved with it is another. To prove it is quite the stepping stone that
Right.
you have to get on.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and that's the standard we'd love to take the show to, is like absolute proof, like absolute solid,
proof.
undeniable, undebatable, like mathematical proof that there really is a breakaway civilization and that humanity is tread far beyond the moon.
Well, I still say that
I want to believe.
I mean, everybody wants to believe. It's everybody's sick of our government taking advantages. That's what it is. I mean, look at it now.
It's not just our government; it's government.
All
Period.
government.
It's every government.
Yeah, just about, pretty much. I thought they had us last year when Matthew turned out to be it was barely a tropical storm, and everybody ran. I couldn't leave. I got a house taken care of and a dog. I'm not gonna leave. I've been through these things before. And it's usually, if you don't get what FEMA declares a direct hit. Now, a direct hit means center of the eyeball. It doesn't mean
Right.
the 25-mile round surface. That's the strongest part of the storm. But nothing touched Florida through Matthew. Well, I beg to differ, because it did a left turn, Clyde, and came 3.5 miles from my house, the edge of the storm. But the center of the storm, it wasn't a Category 3. It hit Daytona area. It wasn't even a tropical storm, because my underground weather app showed that. I posted it on my Facebook and all that stuff. I mean, don't get me wrong. I didn't delete everything Facebook had under my profile. I saved it it took them a day to put it together. All the information I shared on Facebook, I got a file for it. But I sent up, you can send a picture of your current status and all that stuff on the underground weather app, and I could see it was on land. It was a direct hit, and they didn't claim that. They didn't say that on national television, so it wasn't a direct hit. It didn't hit till what, North Carolina or something like that. And that's what they're trying to do. They're going to slow this thing down, and they're going to tear up Florida. It's going to go right up into Georgia and South Carolina, and stall out in Virginia and cause more rain than Harvey did. That's what they're going to do. The other two storms are coming right back behind it. 1, 2, 3, 4 of them in a row. It's crazy. And those are the two patents that I just shared with y'all that can prove that. Now, the second one that was in 2008, if you really, really dig into the abstract and read on further the layout of how this patent works, it's the management of that 1,000 satellites, 12,600 miles in orbit, spread out to collect the sun and regenerate it back down to. I'm plugging myself.
Getting a bit animated there.
Yeah, sorry about that.
That's all right.
But it says, dig this, $16 trillion budget. Isn't that doesn't that sound like that? That's the right? The GDP dealing with that.
Well, we still got $6.5 trillion missing. From the Pentagon's fund. No one's explained yet.
And I put that in the in the book too, under the weather modification program. It told you the numbers, and I added it up through the years. And when I published the book last year, it said it was $6.3 trillion that they're missing in this budget.
Yeah, and that was actually, wasn't that our first show here on Reality Brief? Was about the absolutely insane amount of money that's missing out of the budgets of not just America, but most of the other developed nations on the planet.
That's just to do the chemtrail, $6.3 trillion. And then they announced a month later or so. I published June 5th of last year, and I think it was August. They're missing $6 trillion. It's kind of funny how I come up with evidence before somebody could call me a shield. Come on, why would I even think that?
Yeah, I mean, history's been ripe with them losing large amounts of money like that. I mean, they obviously it's not laws. We all know it's not laws. It's definitely going to fund black programs. Now these chemtrails.
Geoengineering.
We like to call it geoengineering here because it chemtrails kind of portrays an image in people's minds. You know what I mean? It's like almost to the point of conspiracy theorist. You know what I mean?
Oh, of course, yeah. I've been called a conspiracy theorist and everything else. My whole family thinks I'm crazy. So what?
But when you type in geoengineering, you know, it all of a sudden it gets a lot less tinfoily and a hell of a lot more documented.
So now,
talk about tinfoil.
Are you?
We had a homeless guy down here in Florida. Scared to death about my kids when they was young. He wears a hat, this tinfoil hat. It's really huge, you know.
Well, it's a shameless plug. We're hoping to get them as an advertiser one day. If you go to McMaster.com, they actually sell EM shielding foil. It's the cobalt nickel chromium stuff. Way better. Tinfoil is so 2008.
Yeah, man, this stuff will amplify it.
This is what I wear. I wear orgonite.
Let me make you big there. Go ahead, do that. Show us one more time, if you would.
I'll tell you one more time.
Yeah. Orgonite. Okay, so now I've heard about this before. Now, can you make this yourself?
You can, but it's too much trouble, and you got to collect certain material, and you got to do it right. I just soon get online and ship it from India. They got little kids making them. Here's the other one. This is a. See how big it's in my hand?
Yeah.
It's a big pyramid.
Is it four? It's four-sided, right?
It's they mold them and make them that way with the orgonite in it.
Uh-huh.
That's pretty rad.
And there's something about the pyramid power, and I keep that within 3 feet of me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even have an amulet.
Well, what that does is it helps. It's a deflector. It deflects the cell frequencies coming at me.
Mm-hmm.
That's another helpful device to stay unplugged, so to speak.
Well, I read a lot about that stuff supposedly breaking up the actual chemtrail clouds.
Well, here's something I'm going to say it once, but I know a religious group, a church group. They're out of South Carolina, I think. And they went to the West Coast, and they bought 2,000 pounds of orgonite and spread it all the way around the state of Florida, all the way up to the tip of North Carolina along the coastline.
Wow.
And Matthew last year, it kind of bounced off the surface. It wasn't to be able to increase or stay consistent, you know. It didn't do a lot of damage. It only attacked the metal homes, the mobile homes, you know,
right,
where the senior citizens live. They purposely attacked their crap, you know. Let's be conspiracy here now.
Yeah.
But but that's obvious. That's what I had to go fix something like 17 roofs, and they were all metal. Anything else didn't get touched. Not even in our place. I mean, we were, like I said, 3.5, 4 miles from the strong eye wall that they said was category 3, 130, 125. And I post up to Facebook at the time, hey, look at this. We got 68 miles an hour, and I'm 5 miles from the center. Duh. That's manufactured hurricanes. It's not real. The real ones I've been through when I was a kid. Went out in the eye of the storm, and you could see the stars, and it was Hurricane Cleo, I think it was, back in the early 60s. Back down in Miami. It's just what's going to happen now is just devastating. It's a 1-2 punch, and then here comes the 3-4 knockout.
Well, I just want to remind you guys out there listening, if you're not comfortable calling in at 757-528-8130, you can always post your questions in any one of the chats you may be looking at. We will get it, and we will pose it for you.
We have chat omniscience. We have attained the chat feed, the chat feed monad, the chat feed singularity. We see them all at once.
All at once.
All at once.
And we don't even have to take
Control.
mushrooms to do it.
Oh, I'm not mind control. They're not going to tell me to stop drinking this beer. You just watch.
Oh man. So, all right, where are we at here?
We were,
No.
what's it? You were speaking earlier about Morgellons, and that's one thing that I have actually seen some kind of scientific proof of is Morgellons fibers actually in the contents of whatever's being sprayed out into the upper atmosphere, and like you can see these things under the microscope, and it's some kind of weird unlife that's alive but not alive, like. It's little fibers, but they move. They respond to outside stimuli. Those things. That's one of the few things that genuinely freaks me out.
I took my own test and published it in my second book with color pictures. The red wine test, and my wife.
Can you tell us about? Yeah, tell us about the red wine test. What's that? I've never heard of that before.
The red wine test I got from the professor that used to do this programming stuff, and he first said, if you don't want to take my word for it, go do your own red wine test, and I did it.
What is the red wine test? How does that work?
Well, red wine stains everything. It stains, for example, the CDC or the AMA do tests under a microscope, and they're told to just do a normal test, and then we don't see anything. We'll say it's a figment of your imagination. So if you put red wine on it, it's going to
die.
It's going to take a transparent nanochip, nanofiber, nanobot, whatever you want to call it, that you're breathing into your air, which is automatically getting free energy from your body and whatever, and just giving orders to go hook up to the next one that got in before you, and so on and so forth. And that's where we're at with this thing where he says the red wine will stain transparency and it'll show up under a microscope.
So red wine will stain Morgellons fibers.
It'll stain the nanotechnology fibers.
Which
is Morgellons nanotech?
Which is part of the Morgellons. It's complicated to explain through the research that I've come across. You got the Carnicom Institute and some other places that do these kind of tests, and they register and certify it, and then they suddenly go out of business because the fucking government said, "Hey,
they get shut down.
You can't do that." Then they archive it. This kind of studies are out there. It's hard to find, but you gotta know some of the right people to trust to get around all that stuff. I mean, only college students can get into some of these servers that have information that you just can't get out there. It's not easy. And when you come across something, you got to be careful, or they'll take you out. They tried to do that to me. They've taken my books down. I kind of predicted that, but now I know what to do. I know how to don't play the game. You don't play their game. And then when they keep telling you, well, we're going to keep hurting you financially, you better just stop and go down another road. I mean, I have to do on and off all the time. I'll make money, and then I'll come back over here and talk to you guys for a couple hours, and
I like money.
I'll hit and run. I'm an unknown, but I'm a true soldier of not fortune, but of misfortune. That's called targeted individual, and that's what you want to hear. Targeted individual. It happens every single minute of the day to me.
So this whole gang stalking thing, like, what happens if you were to, say, turn around and confront or even shoot at your attackers, assuming that they were just a normal street gang?
Well, at first you got to recognize that you're a target. If you don't know you're a target, you'll never recognize when you're being targeted.
Like if it's obvious, if there's like 8 dudes with table legs walking up behind you.
Right, that's true.
But I assume it's rarely that obvious.
Well,
is it more like vans parked across the street and they drive off when you approach them, that sort of thing?
Being targeted right now, and you know what I'm talking about. It's just like everything goes wrong all the time to you, and you don't realize what you did wrong with. It's nothing you did wrong.
It's the program turning against you. It's
trying to get you to delay your time. In other words, it's slowing you down or speeding you up to get to a certain point A to B, and no matter what you do, I'm going to go get milk and you end up getting beer. That's not mind control. That's
They're screwing with you. Yeah, direct mind control,
certain
social
amount of
control,
beer,
surveillance,
certain amount of milk.
physical, mental, psychological torture, physical pain using means outside of your body, hypnotic trigger words, psychological pain, all this stuff, destroying your support system.
Yep, that's true. It's just like here I'm sitting around waiting to get hit by a hurricane, and it's coming right at us. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we get a direct hit, and it's going to be 9/11 at 2 a.m. It's going to be in the dark. I hate it when it happens in the dark, man. It sucks.
Didn't Andrew make landfall in real early in the morning, like 2 a.m., 12 o'clock, something like that?
Well, and then it did that sudden left turn, Clyde, and then went over Dade City, and man, just trying to recall that article is just horrific.
There's a lot of similarities between that hurricane and this hurricane. It's kind of creepy, actually.
That's what I'm trying to say. This is 9/11 too. This is an attack on America right here. This is going to put so many people, 20 million people, are going to be out of commission for a couple of weeks. And if anything else happens to this country, we're screwed.
I remember the last time we caught a Category 1, the neighborhood I lived in was out of power for like 3 weeks.
Wow. 3 weeks?
Yeah.
Yeah, we had Isabel. We were out of
power 2003, 2004, yeah.
We were out of power over here for
they have underground power, and then you got one of the main roads. It's the end of I-4 and 95, and they got to have that back open just so people can get back in. They'll have that up right away. So I can't be more than 3 days out. We have underground power where I live, 5,000 homes. We were out of power for 24 hours, I think. That was it.
Yeah, the people, the localities around here aren't that clever. You know, the city we're in has been here for like, 400 years? And they still don't grok liberty. Or have properly built infrastructure.
We're getting stepped on again, guys. I could barely hear a word you said.
The town we live in has been here for 400 years, and they still don't grok liberty or infrastructure.
Huh.
How's that audio coming through? Is it still messing up?
Yeah, you got a loose wire on your mic or something?
No, is it doing that same thing it was doing earlier?
Yeah, they don't want me talking. You have to shut up.
Better.
Yeah, now you're back.
Yeah. All right, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's weird, man.
Yeah, it's just wonderful equipment here. It don't like getting shot with microwave beams, apparently.
Right. Well, the targeted individual part, man, it's just, after all these decades of not knowing what it was, and then finally it comes out, somebody talks about it, and I studied that for 5 years, and, I self-educate myself a lot, and there's nothing wrong with that.
No, not at all.
They want you to homeschool now. I mean, here, pay us some money, and we'll you ain't got to go nowhere. Save gasoline.
Yeah, I'm thinking like right now it'd actually be a really good time to be in North Dakota.
I've been there. I didn't like the place. The beers were too expensive.
Yeah, it could be a bummer. You just got to brew your own if you're living out there, right?
Yeah, that's true. Oh, that's actually the first place I saw a chemtrail, the first chemtrail. Well, I actually looked up in the sky and said, what the hell is that? When somebody had told me about chemtrails, and I didn't really catch on at first, that was like 3 years ago. Actually, 3 years ago. All the chemtrails research that I've ever done, they did the waffle right over me, man. I couldn't believe it. In the middle of a cornfield. What were they doing? Spraying the crap out of the bugs. We're the Zika virus, right?
Well, it makes you wonder if crop circles are part of that whole hyperdimensional control matrix that come through.
Governor Scott, his wife owns the company that sells the spray to the airplanes in the bug trucks, the Zika virus smoke.
Yeah, we get those around here.
No, I'm talking. The governor's wife owns a company that sells the crap that makes the smoke.
Wow, that's pretty awesome. And
that
I'm sure one of their relatives probably cooked it up to begin with.
Talk about control. They own the money. They own everything. They own everything they're killing us with.
Yeah, well, I mean, you got
Exactly.
What was that?
I don't know.
Stop it. Yeah, you've got companies like Alcoa. They're aluminum manufacturers, and what do they do with their waste? They turn around and sell it to us so they can put it in our drinking water labeled as fluoride. So instead of having to pay tons and tons of money to dispose of it properly, we could just drink it, right?
Yeah, well, there's probably a conspiracy behind all that too.
No, there absolutely is.
Yeah, there absolutely is.
Yeah, and you know what it is? It's the fluoride. The fluoride, dentists try to get you to use the fluoride stuff in your teeth, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Keeps you docile and robs you of your psychic powers.
my wife is a dietitian. She's about the cleanest person that I know. She's kind of like Howard Hughes. Don't touch me. The germ type. And she brushes her teeth. And I swear to you, it's 5 minutes at a time. Now, if it says on the instructions to brush your teeth for a few minutes, it means for a few minutes. It doesn't mean 30 seconds. It doesn't mean 15. I'm in a hurry, or not even a minute. It says a few minutes. It says that, right? Now, she's got perfect teeth. She always goes to the dentist every other 6 months to get a checkup. Perfect. Nothing wrong with her. No gum disease, no nothing. Now, if you don't brush your teeth for at least a minute, you're doing the fluoride no good to disperse itself, because the fluoride is what kills all the germs in the teeth and the mouth. And instead, you just, most people have dental problems because the fluoride,
right.
if it's not activated properly, and the reaction to the chemical, water, and other compounds they have in the toothpaste, then it makes your teeth deteriorate rapidly.
Right. There's a thing called fluorosis, and where you get brown spots.
It gets really bad. No, it gets really bad.
Yeah, and it replaces the calcium in your bones and makes your bones brittle. Among other,
Calcifies your pineal gland.
Mental
dog.
effects, calcification of the pineal gland.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It robs you of your psychic powers.
Mm-hmm. And someone in the chat wants to know if they can borrow a broom. I don't know what that means.
They must squeeze me in and say, "Well, come on, I'm talking."
No, you can't. Go to the dollar store and buy one.
Buy your own broom.
Let me finish the story of the red wine test.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I go and buy a very expensive, like $400, microscope that can zoom into like 20,000 times power, and you have to be able to see the atom. And they don't sell anything in cheap, unless you're a serious researcher of some kind to buy something like that. So, and it also had video, photo capture capability, so I could take a picture, or I could slide the slide around to like took a video 20,000 things growing inside our own spit. So the red wine test is you wash your mouth out, you brush it and all that stuff as many times you want. Then you go take a swig of red wine, swish it around, spit it out on a platter, and then you suck up some and put it on your sample on your microscope slide, and then you go to work. And within the first 30 seconds, 20,000, you'll see things growing inside. You'll see what I put in the book. The red wine, the pictures of what looks like a tether, and in the middle of that tether is what do you call it? It's a chip, and they attach to each other, and God knows how many. You got billions in your body. It
like
takes
little nanotech chips.
Yeah, it takes years to saturate your body to ingest all this stuff, and they have it designed where it doesn't. The immune system won't attack it, and that's what's wrong with the Morgellons people. Is
now, do these things replicate?
Yeah, they replicate. Yeah, and in other words, they're carrying their ammunition with them when you breathe it in. And well, it's a long process to say this, but when I saw mine, I started taking pictures, and my wife came home. It was a Saturday, and she said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Oh, I'm doing that red wine test." And she listened to me. She said, "Oh man," she didn't want to listen to this crap, right? She said, "Well," she goes, "Can I do my own test?" I said, "Sure." "What do you do?" I said, "Go brush your teeth, swish it out, use Listerine, whatever you want, and come take this, spit it out." And she, "Okay, I got it." And when she started zooming in and looking in right there, and she went, oh, I'm going to go puke. And she ran to the bathroom and threw up. That's my wife. And she is now a believer that she's changed her whole attitude about being the person she is and was. When you see them things crawling around in your own spit, it'll make you sick to your stomach, dude.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, if you think about it, I mean, 75% of your intestinal tract is microorganisms, so we're full of all sorts of gross little creepy crawly things.
well, these things are, I call nanofibers and with nanochips, and you breathe them in the air and they get into your system because they're atom size. They can get anywhere they want. And the next thing you know, after a couple of decades, you're going to be a cyborg. You won't even know who you are anymore because they're all inside your brain. Everything's going to be mechanical inside, but you got a human outside, just like Terminator.
I'd be okay with being a cyborg as long as it was like, preserve my brain and make the rest of me mechanical.
But imagine this. You can't go out and get high anymore. You can't go out and get drunk anymore. You can't go out and get laid anymore because the brain's telling you you're not going to do that anymore. In fact, I'm going to make you work the rest of your life. Bend over ass backwards to do it. And that's what they're doing. They're turning your brain into mush because they can, and they will. And it's sad that I get to watch it happen. Yeah, I wish they'd come take me out. I'll be damned when they do that. The what do you call it? The kill switch just went sour on them because it's going to go everywhere. I have a kill switch. Somebody kill me, and then I just switched out all the information. It's going to go worldwide. They don't even know how to stop that. It's not in my hands.
So,
oh man!
If someone managed to say, I don't know, program a computer virus, something to shut the nanotech down that you're talking about, what do you suppose would happen?
I'm saying that humanity has to save humanity. We have to save ourselves. If we don't wake up, like they've been saying, you got to wake up. Oh, we're going to ascend. No, hell, we're not. They want you to ascend. They want you to ascend right into the brain of a computer that's going to tell you what to do until your body finally fails and dies. What if they already got technology to fix your body, to keep you alive for 1,000 years? And how did all these ancient alien mega monolith sites all just disappeared? There's no signs of their bones. It's because they're turning us into cyborgs. They don't need us on human planet Earth anymore. They're just going to wipe it out again and start all over again. We're just a laboratory. We talked about that at the very beginning. We're just a laboratory here. And mankind seems to think they're God in a way, Are they? Are they trying to be God? Are they trying to own us?
I think some people would try to be God. I mean, you just take a look at some of this AI that's coming out.
There's no shortage
the
of tyrants.
non-nano variety that's just out there in the public arena now. I mean, it's frightening. Just today we were looking at a video of a guy with like giant cyborg arms, controlling it with the electrical signals from his brain, twitching the muscles where his arms used to be hooked to an electrode that would control the arm. Like
no data jack required.
Yeah, it's not even a true brain interface. It's just reading the signals that your brain is sending to the muscles. To the muscles there.
Some of these what do you call it? NSA I call them spooks, I do that to them all the time. I mean, see me. In fact, you can see me down here where you don't think you got a camera at, dumbass, because I've seen that too. I even programmed that.
So
it's kind of like that. What was that movie called Snowden? And the guy, for years, planned his way to take down the NSA. What they're really doing. I mean, it's obvious.
So if something happens to you, it's going to be bigger. It's going to be as big as Snowden. Well, I sincerely hope that nothing happens to you, but, hey, maybe you should just jump the gun and go ahead and put it all out there anyhow.
Hey, man, wasn't that part of the...
once that genie's out of the bottle, man, it can't go back in.
Didn't you say that was your mission, though? Isn't that part of your mission?
I republished it today. Today's the day it went up online on Kindle. It'll take 2 to 3 days to go Europe and Great Britain. And you can get paperbacks.
Very good.
Right on.
The week, yeah. By the time this storm is done its due, well, my books will be available to see how they did it. Yeah.
So you can get a copy of that and your other books at what, Amazon?
Yeah, Amazon. Amazon Kindle store has it. It's out there right now.
All right, well, I just want to remind you guys one more time, if you're out there listening in internet land, you can call now, 757-528-8130. With your questions, comments, whatever may be on your mind.
Maybe if you're listening to our show right now and you happen to be a targeted individual as well, call in. Tell us about
Let
it.
us know about your experience. You know, you can also check out our Facebook group there. We post a lot of cool stuff in there. You can join that and give our Facebook page a like. Check out our YouTube channel. We got the Twitch, we got the Twitter, we got the Patreon. You guys give us a like. It helps us out. So
it means a lot. And we feel it right
I'm
here.
so sad about it. So anyway.
Hey, look, I got to put up the shutters again. Dang it. I still got to do that. I got neighbors calling up.
You got
hey, Mr. Davis, can you go put our shutters up again? That took me 2 days, man. I'll pay you. I don't care about the money. I just ain't got time to do it.
So, I want to jump back a little bit. You were talking about that satellite system directing the UV. Now, what would be the purpose of this?
Well, a lot of it has a lot to do with how the artificial intelligence, by the way, is part of the medical system. And if you just use the Google Patents search database and just type in maybe 3 keywords, the lower the amount, you don't have so many pages to go look through. The results. Like you try to keep it under 1,000 pages. And if you get too broad, you'll have like 100,000 pages they're all related to each other. Everything is.
Right.
That's what I discovered about the Google Patent search. So if you do artificial intelligence, nanotechnology, remote, like make it simple, or wireless, those 3 keywords right there, you'll come up with everything that I've written about. It's all related. And especially this one, with the abstracts about the Earth's surface. Somebody tipped me on this one. And also, this is when Dr. Michael Solid, I think it was. He's the exopolitics, whatever.
Exopolitics.org.
He mentioned on a show one night where I was a guest in the chat room, and I asked him a question about when are they going to start disclosing certain patents and this and that and the other. And he actually responded. He said, actually, President Trump has already written a memorandum to the top researchers, and so that they're going to release some of the patents. And when I wrote this book about the patents, the second book was a Target Individual book, it changed overnight. It went from 560 to 880 some odd web pages that had results from my keywords, the same keywords. And then it jumped up to like hundreds of thousands of pages. And the page structure was different. It was like a copy, but it wasn't. It was totally different text type, instead of Corsica or whatever. It was Times New Roman or whatever, that kind of difference. And I noticed that. And so apparently there is some truth to Trump trying to take down the cabal, but he's against the whole planet money system. That's a steep, step to climb, I think.
I myself find it a bit of a stretch, man. I don't really see Trump doing anything too great for us. I mean,
I figure he's just part of the cabal.
That's what the insiders say, but insiders have been wrong before.
I think he got a clone just like Obama was.
No, I think I could see him as a reptilian. I mean, to me, Trump being a reptilian is within their own possibilities. But again, same for the Bushes and Obama. Right? They could all be reptilians, man.
You never know who's a lizard under that skin.
747. When he walked onto the 747 chemtrail plane, it was all for media. You know, he said, "Yeah, I'm going to get rid of this program too in about 2 years." I said, right there, and I said, "He's a clone."
Hmm.
If he knows anything, what these chemtrails and this weather, they can actually create these storms and put them right on top of you. You know, and they're coming at me right now. They're going to hit us direct. Daytona Beach has never been hit.
Or maybe the
Never.
one that's president right now is a clone, and the real Donald Trump is chilling on Sirius Base.
Yeah, when he tweets stupid stuff. And that's part of that patent that I showed you too about the social networking.
Hmm.
You see how that generates all that. I mean, I follow him on, you know, and I try not to use Twitter, but it got you guys to come to me, and y'all said y'all came to me through the BBS radio contact.
Yeah.
I saw. Yeah, that was pretty cool. My first interview was like, shit, I think I got 10 minutes of talking, and they were just shooting shit and laughing in the background all they can, you know.
Mhm.
They like to listen to themselves talk. That's the kind of radio shows I stay away from. You guys doing all right, man. Like,
We normally do that when we don't have a guest though, so we get plenty of that. So when we have a guest on, we're not so amped up to be like, ah, bah, da, bah, da, bah, da.
yeah.
But now, dude, you said that does have to do with the AI. So is this like a powering mechanism? Is this powering the chemtrail, the nano dust, the solar,
Well,
the UV?
it's so complicated to understand these patents unless you're an engineer like me.
Mm-hmm.
And 3 years of architecture. I'm a combination of both. So I can see on one hand how this works and then what it's supposed to work with, and then you start looking into certain words in the abstract and further down and how it works and so on and so forth. You know, the descriptions and how it gets into detail of the explanation, and then they had the prime examples. They did testing on a certain case or two, and then you'll find the words to search for that are related to this, and at the very bottom it'll show you what's related to it already, patent citations, and you start clicking on them. Forcing frame, forcing house with increased collector effect. You know, then it's in German. You don't understand a word. Oh man, Germans invented this crap. You know, and it's worldwide, and it's so compartmentalized that nobody really knows what you're working on. You know?
Yeah, I mean, compartmentalization is pretty much how they do everything. Interestingly enough, we did, when I was doing that other radio show we were talking about earlier, Ron in the Hills, we did a show on the Bavarian Illuminati where we went through and found all the historical precedents and everything. And, man, I just lost my train of thought. What the hell was
The
I even
Bavarian
saying?
Illuminati
Oh, yeah,
on
compartmentalization. Derp.
Yeah.
So Weishaupt actually invented that little trick.
Mm-hmm.
Compartmentalization within
Yeah.
the Barbarian Illuminati, and it kind of just found its place into the intelligence agencies, and they pretty much, when they're constructing something secret, say they're working on the latest stealth craft, let's just keep it in the realm of, you know, normal believability.
And foreign contractor to do it with foreign labor and keep the money out of America.
Well, I mean, that could even be the
Real
case. A
bad.
lot of
I
times,
think-
it's, you know, take Lockheed, for instance. There'll be someone working on the air conditioning system. There'll be someone working on, you know, this wing design. They're not working on the whole thing, and they don't really know what they're building as a whole, only their own little individual part. And that pretty much is the way that it all works. It's called compartmentalization.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously, I know you know that. I just want to put that out there for our listeners who may not understand.
Mm-hmm.
So Dan, did you have anything else for him?
Well, go
I was
ahead,
wondering, are there any resources for anybody out there if you do find yourself a targeted individual or a victim of gang stalking or any of these sorts of things? Are there any resources out there that people can turn to get help?
Well, all I can say is you can only help yourself because you have to recognize the fact that you're being targeted.
So no.
And the best way
You're on your own.
that I've learned is to just say it to yourself. Say it aloud. Y'all leave me alone. Just leave me alone. And it'll get bored, and artificial intelligence can't determine the difference of what a human thinks, you know, and it'll quit targeting you.
How can we as humans screw with the AI that governs the world?
Say that again.
How can we, as simple humans, screw with the AI that governs the world?
Well, it's going to be a long haul, but us humans have to save ourselves.
Magic, perhaps?
I just sent you another patent. It's about telepathy, and maybe you'll understand that a little bit better. Maybe the next time we come back around, and I can show you some more.
Sounds pretty rad.
Yeah, we actually just recently did a show on synthetic telepathy.
You got to have a higher than 7 pH level in your body, and that's the electrical source that the nano chips are getting from you, your nanotechnology. That's how it thrives.
So it is the nanotech is feeding on your energy. It's not being powered from an outside source.
When we just shared this link, it's targetedindividualseurope.wordpress.com/ti-symptoms, and they mention under the section labeled mental pain, they say loud synthetic telepathy. The attackers talk with some of the victims 24/7. They use interrogation techniques that are not only used in the CIA or Secret Service. That is labeled also V2K, voice to skull, or loud synthetic telepathy. A learning computer with synthetic voice that can be modulated in any voice can partially take over or full time during the initial stages. This keeps the victim awake and always tired. Silent synthetic telepathy. The victim doesn't hear the attackers, but there is thought manipulation directing their attention.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I've talked to several people who've experienced this.
Mm-hmm.
So they claim, and it's kind of frightening, man. To be able, the technology is very simple too. It's just using, specific radio frequencies and essentially turning your head into a radio. Mm-hmm. And it was pioneered by this guy that made that tooth radio way back in the day. He was involved in the MK Ultra programs, LSD trials, that kind of stuff. Real kind of character, you know what I mean? But he also.
Puharaj?
Yeah, he was the one that brought Geller over with the whole Channel 9 counselings, and I don't know if you're familiar with that, but that's
channelings.
Channelings, I'm sorry. The Council of 9 channelings. I don't know if you're familiar how that's all wrapped up with Star Trek and Gene Roddenberry, and so it seems like... It
has links to Scientology.
It seems like a lot of the channeling stuff that's out there now is actually probably most likely just this voice-to-skull technology.
It is. It's microwave beams. They're telling you silently, invisibly, right from the Wi-Fi box in your room, in your house, wherever, and including the cell towers. They're telling you what to do right now. That's how it works.
Well, and there are fake cell towers too, called stingrays, that are there just to monitor people's cell phones and get your information.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They mimic cell towers, but it's
they gotta
really a
have
trap.
a cell tower to send. It has to send the signal. Yeah, not the antenna, not the ones that just collect.
Mm-hmm.
But the ones I got a website that can show you how many antennas and how many towers that you got around you, and how you're always being bombarded by all this secret frequencies that are really frying you to death. And that's why the artificial sun is producing certain UV radiation. They got UVC, they got UVCC, they got UVD. E, F, G, H, H. I mean, there's technologies that they will not let us know, or they'll somebody like me might figure it out. You damn right I will, because that's what I do. I want to figure it out. It says it right there in the abstract, or the last link I sent you, system for producing artificial telepathy. I mean, it can actually induce your mind and the artificial intelligence to suggest, like it said in the other patent, topics or subtopics to control certain things.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's part of the time control programming. It's all a program. You remember, it's just a program. That's all it is. You got to ignore it. That's it.
This article, they talk about that it's capable of causing direct pain in the body around the clock, and it only gets worse and worse due to ICT implants or other kinds of devices. Often labeled by targeted individuals as non-lethal weapons, directed energy weapons, electromagnetic frequency weapons, or simply radiation. They mention pain in the spinal cord, the back of the head, the amygdala and the limbic system, pain in the forehead, feeling like your brain's been cooked, electroshocks in your brain and pain in your chest, electric shocks in your heart, toothaches, heart attacks, in quotation marks, pain in vital organs, liver, stomach, lungs, heart, eyes, itching eyes, food poisoned. It seems like the red eyes are a big thing.
Let me give you the title of a connected patent. It says medically perpetual persistence of essential human life. Now, what did that just say? Artificial. Artificial intelligence. They just call it something else, and they put it inside you, and you don't even know it.
So, have you ever been attacked by a direct energy weapon or directed energy weapon?
Twice.
Twice. No, what was that? What was that like?
First one I talked about earlier was I was experimenting with my first EMP device that I made out of a wrist wrap and magnets, super magnets, and I put them on my wrist. And this was 4 years ago, and my ankles. Why just do the wrist, right? I want to get rid of these suckers, right? Because I've seen what this stuff does in my own, lab results. And so, sure enough, my wife comes home on a Saturday job. Hey, you want to go to the flea market? Sure. So what are you doing? Oh, I'm doing an experiment. What is it? I said, it's just magnets. It's just, didn't think much. About 10 minutes later, I'm trying to park at the flea market, and it hit me. My heart jumped to 195 beats a minute, and it wouldn't quit for an hour and 13 minutes. Finally, it just stopped. And that was the first attack. And the second one happened just this spring. I told you about that. It lasted 18 minutes. And I've learned to recognize some of the signs of what it does. I mean, my heart rate was 119 or 59. That's normal. My blood sugar was 91. That's normal. There's nothing wrong with my body. Why did my heart rate jump? You see how they can do it? Oh, you want me to take you to the hospital? Don't you dare take me to the hospital. They'll fucking kill me. God, that's what they do. They get you to the hospital. They don't know what you are. You're a guinea pig all of a sudden. Oh, your vital signs. They'll take your brain, all that stuff, and they'll say we don't know what it is. Maybe you're diabetic. They'll put some juice in you, and they'll just make you sick as a roller coaster. That's what they do. They'll kill you if you go to the hospital. I'm not saying that you should never go to the hospital. I'm just saying I'm not going to go to the hospital.
And if you go with something that isn't obvious, because, the emergency room's for emergencies, but, there's a lot of stuff that I've seen people go to the ER for that wasn't an emergency. And, if you go enough times, eventually they'll just take you off to the psychiatric hospital and let you stew it out there for a while.
Yeah, that's possible. But I guess we're out of time, gentlemen. It's about 2 minutes till 9 or 10.
All right, bud. Thanks for coming on, and
thank you, sir.
If you want to go ahead and give out the titles of your books again one more time before you leave.
If you got a website you want to plug,
website I just published is Incident at Fort Polk. I added double the size of the book. It's 408 pages. You're going to have fun. Go to Amazon Kindle. You'll get it. The other books are in works. I have to rename them all because of what happened to me. I'd rather not go into all this. I'm not into putting people down, but that's what they do. That's their belief, and that's part of the whole artificial intelligence mind control that they don't even know they're doing. I feel sorry for them. But anyway, the other one was the Pink Mile. The other one was TI versus AI, targeted individual versus artificial intelligence. Just reverse that. That's what it'll be.
All right, Ben. Thanks for joining us tonight.
All right, man. Get back with me sometime soon. Especially check on me to make sure I ain't taken up out in the clouds this weekend when this hurricane hits.
Right.
It's going to be 9/11-2. That's what I call it.
All right.
All right.
Yeah, take care of yourself, Ben.
Bet down the edges, man. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So, there you have it.
There you go, guys.
So what do you think, Dan?
Well, again, I have an exceedingly high burden of proof. Always the skeptic, and there's a lot of this stuff that I would, love to see. I mean, and don't get me wrong, the patents are red. That's definitely a step in the right direction. That's the kind of stuff I want to see.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely some very large, bold claims were made tonight.
They were, and this is not an isolated phenomenon. I found a Reddit for people who believe that they are victims of the basically targeted individuals themselves, and we went ahead and shared that on our Facebook page.
Well,
So.
I think the major revelation, if you can call it that, is this AI. Now, this is a pretty common story that's floating around about artificial intelligence, nanobots, chemtrails. It's a lot of different conspiracy theories and stuff looped into one thing here. It's pretty interesting because depending on who you ask, the mind control nanobots may be directly extraterrestrially controlled by, a lot of people say Draco, a reptilian race, or other things that are like kind of creating a they live scenario to where it's not just like mind control that's, go to the store and buy some milk, like he was saying, but like preventing you from seeing things that you should be seeing or thinking clearly or,
Exercising
higher
judgment.
cognitive function. You know what I mean? Like when you get someone like this who claims to be involved in all these types of things, you have to approach it. You can't let your will to want to believe something blind you to things.
Precisely.
So, you have to kind of look at it from all angles. And, what he's saying may or may not be true. We don't know. There's no proof of it. It's his word. Just like with the anybody else we may have on the show. And so far, really, there hasn't. Closest thing to that, I guess, would be Don Doyon with his UFO pictures.
Yeah.
But, this guy brings some patents, some very interesting patents, which we will be looking into and give you a boil down. We also posted those.
And we love that kind of stuff. You remember we did that whole show about John Quincy St. Clair's patents.
Yeah. And those patents, and I'm wondering if there's any kind of cross-correlation there with any of the shell companies that we found in the St. Clair thing.
Well, I'll tell you what. I shared a video on the Reality Brief Facebook page earlier today of a gentleman with a video. His channel actually claims to demonstrate a working copy of one of these Starship coils that, get this, there was a patent for one of those in St. Clair's roster.
Really? That's pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, man, guys, with the last little bit of time we got here, if you want to call in, maybe discuss what was said tonight, give your opinion on his story.
I think we should
your
show
opinion
everybody
on
that video of the guy with the robot arms, because, man, that's
Dude,
pretty wild.
I think
we
you're
should
right, Dan.
go out on that.
I'm going to go ahead and try and find that. So why don't you blab away there for a second, buddy?
Oh yeah. So this other guy's channel. It's on YouTube. It's called Immediator. It's like the word immediate with UR on the end of it. And go to this guy's site. Go to this guy's YouTube channel. It's pretty rad, man. He gets excited about it too. He's sitting there pumping on the salad spinner that's hooked up with all these neodymium
Oh, you
magnets.
talking about Mad Scientist guy?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this is awesome, guys. You got to check this out.
And he's banging these salad spinners that are just spinning, and they're generating a ton of current. Like, it's actually pretty impressive. Like, if you were a fidgety person, you could have like a couple of foot pump salad spinners that generate electricity under your desk, and while you're sitting there working on whatever you're working on, tapping your feet, it's generating power.
I'm sorry, man. I'm having a hard time finding it. I tell you what, guys. Just go over to facebook.com/realitybrief and click like, scroll down in the news feed, and, it's in there. You can't miss it. Paraplegic guy with big, giant, freaking robot arms.
We're almost there, and you know what? It's worth the wait, I guarantee. Yeah, here you go.
All right.
This is pretty rad.
Give me this. Get out of here. All right.
This
Let
is
me
from
pull this
Cheddar.
up for you.
This is from a
Cheddar.
Facebook page called Cheddar.
Cheddar, mo better. You know what I mean? We're going to go ahead. We're going to do that. Let's see here.
Yeah, this is pretty wild.
Ooh. We're going to get sued. I'm going to turn off the music.
It's only a minute
I'm going to
long.
turn off the music, guys, so we
turn off
don't
the
get in
music.
trouble.
Our commentary is better anyhow.
Oh, yeah. So, I've got these arms here, and I'm going to be pinching things. As you can see, it was developed by John Hopkins. What? I missed that.
Applied Physics Laboratory.
Man, what's interesting to me, the most interesting thing about this,
Wow, that's a
I
shitty
was
way to
talking
lose your
about
arms.
I was talking about it earlier. It's not a true brain interface, but it works like one because it's using the impulses he's saying. He's actually trying to move his phantom limb right now, and it's being translated into mechanical movements there.
Well, that's kind of nice. It's nice to know that, you know, being able to, you can do this sort of stuff and you don't have to stick electrodes in your head. You know what I mean?
Right.
You don't require a Class 5 data jack.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty rad, man. Especially, who's this guy? Well, we'd love to hear what you have to say, but we don't want to get in trouble for playing somebody's music.
He's the Cheddar Man.
Cheddar! So go ahead and check that out. Oh, no, don't do that. Showing everybody that. Gosh.
You're welcome, Cheddar.
Oh, no. Hey, there it is. Sorry. Oh, shit. All right, well, that about wraps it up for this week anyway, guys. We'll see you back here again next week at 8 o'clock. Our guest next week is, oh, geez, what was his name, man? Oh, I'm the worst. Paul Wesley, I think. And Paul is going to be talking about the extraterrestrial hybrid agenda. Now, we've all heard a lot about people saying they've been abducted, had different sexual things done to them.
Oh, baby.
Lots of different theories about, you know, human alien hybridization. This guy claims to have been abducted. He also claims to be in contact with a astral feline race and has some type of inside information about the hybrid agenda. So that ought to be interesting, guys.
Wasn't there something about a Japanese faction of Dark Fleet?
And that's coming up the week after. We'll talk. We'll talk to you about that later. Oh yeah. So we'll see you next week, guys. Thanks for listening.
Yep. Thanks, everybody.
I'd save the heartache for another life if I'd have known. I'd make the promise to myself if I'd have known. The sun can't set, no moon could hang, not on freedoms. We count the stars as they burn out. On frozen waves, the brightest light was beneath us.